All right, let's see if we do the loop. Yeah, the loop is absolutely awesome. I could just do this all day.
Kraton EXB. You know it's something good when you see the EXB logo, right? Let me spin this thing around because I already opened it up. I had to see what it is. Check it out, guys. The new Kraton V6 EXB. Let's get this out of the box. I'm really excited about this one, especially after driving the standard V6 Kraton. There it is, RC drivers, the latest Kraton 6S EXB, which stands for Extreme Bash, refresh for 2025. This thing looks pretty killer. It's loaded up with tons of aluminum goodies, ready for just hardcore bashing. Now, the price, let's get right into it. $749.99, so that's $150 more than the V6 that I recently reviewed. I'll have a link up above to that, so if you want to check that out after this video, that'll give you some cool information, and it's got some killer action in it as well. This truck is for those that want to go next level, and I didn't know about this truck, just to be completely honest. It literally showed up 2 days before the release day, and I'm gonna pull some all-nighters to get this video footage up for you guys, but this looks like a killer truck. Now, for those of you that didn't like the body selection, the body colors that they chose on the V6, I think you're gonna like this one. So with the EXB look, you get all black with some red highlights, and they do have some of the stripes that we saw on the other body, but the big thing here now is they have the clipless body system. So you've got this push tab in the front and in the rear. It unloads the spring tab underneath and it pops it off the body post. So you just push these two buttons down and pops up. And there's the inside of the body, even has a center brace still. I have popped this body setup off a couple times, but I still like the way it looks. It just makes it look so much cleaner. Now let's check out the truck. Wow, look at all the red parts on this truck. You know, when you put it up to the standard V6, you could start to see where that $150 is. All these red anodized aluminum parts that really help toughen this truck up, makes it that extreme basher, holds true to its name. Starting off with the chassis, it has that 7075 chassis that we saw on the new V6. Still got that steel skid plate in the rear, and it's got the EXB front bumper. So that's carried over. You know that's good stuff on both trucks, actually. It has a new Velcro battery strap, a lot tougher than the previous versions, and this battery tray is adjustable. So you can run two 2S packs or two 3S packs. A lot of people are gonna run 6S in this. And then you'll see the red top braces that we saw before, but underneath on the standard V6, these are composite, and on the EXB, they've got these red aluminum chassis stiffeners. Those look absolutely awesome. Still has the EXB top plate over the steering, and they swapped out the servo mounting plate. That's aluminum instead of composite. There's the tall side guards that'll block dirt from getting into the chassis. There's a quick look at the new body mounts in case you haven't seen those, and then check out the wing mount. That's a one-piece unit, looks really solid. Then it's got the dual deck molded wing that we've seen before. Now I can start talking about the red goodies on this. So you have the EXB shock towers. These are machined aluminum instead of stamped. These are gonna be a lot stronger. Ooh, look at the large head on the hinge pins. And I noticed in the back that they have the aluminum upper hinge pin mount. That I like because I've been driving the V6 and I actually broke that piece. So that is really good that this truck comes with it. It's got the latest suspension arms. It's got the cap on the bottom so the threads don't pull through. And if you check out that steering knuckle, that's the revised steering knuckle. It now has plates that screw onto the end. Yeah, it's a little bit more work if you gotta take it off, but at least those pivot ball screws aren't pushing out on hard hits, so I definitely like the revised knuckle. Then it's got a dual shear point for the steering. It's got the heavy duty turnbuckles on there, and just really quick, I didn't notice this on the last one, and I don't know when they made the change, but look at the size of that rod end on there. They've got some extra beef around that so that doesn't come apart. Might as well talk about the steering while I'm here. So it's got an aluminum Arrma bar on it, cast steering horn on the bell crank setup, and even the 25 tooth aluminum horn on the servo. Rear suspension, pretty close to what we saw on the standard V6. You got the chunky arms on the bottom, adjustable tie rods up top, solid looking hubs on the outside, but inboard here, you've got another EXB shock tower, anodized red. You got the red anodized shocks. And I know the red theme really goes with the EXB, but I really like the black anodized shock bodies that I saw on the standard version. But anyway, these shocks are plush, and the damping feels right for bashing. And since it's part of the suspension, I'll show you the wheels and tires, the D-Boots Copperhead 2s, real favorite for bashing. washers mounted to the 5-star wheels. Plenty of traction, just the right amount of expansion so you can do backflips, lots of fun tricks with it, and they're secured down to 17mm hexes. Into the driveline, you're immediately going to notice the red anodized aluminum gear cases. This was a popular upgrade years ago for people that were really extreme bashing, and the EXBs have been coming with them. It's awesome to see it again here. Just a little side note, I mean, I took off this top plate for the sway bar. It's got a centering composite sleeve in there, so the sway bar doesn't lock up when going side to side. Just really cool, all the little features that Arrma works into their RCs. But you're gonna get that aluminum gear case in the front and in the rear. And then in the center, they have the aluminum center diff mount and motor plate. But the differentials, front, center, and rear, they're all metal gear, oil filled, actually 80,000 in the front according to the manual, and then 100,000 in the center. However, the center diff is one of their limited slip setups. They give you the plates already installed in there. And in the parts bag that comes with the truck, they give you additional plates if you want to go change up the front and rear diff to a limited slip setup. Full steel ball bearings throughout, dog bones in the center, dog bones in the rear. And as you'd expect, the spur gear is steel and it's got one of their D-ring pinion gears on it just so it's secure. I mean, I think that's where the savings really comes in. All these aluminum parts, especially those gear cases, those can be expensive. And you can see, again, where that $150 difference is. And I think you're actually saving a lot. If you're going to go and buy all these red parts separately, it would probably add up to a lot. These electronics, these probably look familiar. We saw it in the standard V6, so it's got the Spectrum S665 servo, over 200 ounce-inches of torque in that bad boy, metal gears. Right behind it is the latest Spectrum Firma 150 amp speed controller. Does have some programmability to it, like the new muted colors on there, just grays and black. Cooling fan, of course, IC5 plugs, even a cat pack on there to stabilize it. And then right behind it, there's the 2050 kV motor with heat sink on it and cooling fan. So this speed controller motor setup, along with a 6S pack, should hit the real 65+ mile/hour mark. In fact, my V6 standard version, that truck hits 67. They give you the Spectrum SLT3 radio system with this truck. Kind of wishing they gave us something a bit more substantial with it. However, it does have the 315 receiver inside the receiver box, which is really nice because then you could go and bind it to a high-end Spectrum radio if you have one. I'll probably throw it on my DX5 Pro at some point, but this will get you by. It's a comfortable radio system, 2.4 gigs, it's got your basic trims. Then you got to get your instruction manual, you're going to get some extra decals, the new tools that they've been including with a lot of the cars. Yeah, they're basic tools, but they're a lot better than the Allen wrenches. You get your wheel nut wrench, a box wrench, AA batteries, and there are those plates that I was telling you about for the differentials, in case you want to throw those in. All right, guys, it's pretty cold outside right now. I think there's still some snow, so I'm not sure where I'm going. It might be the skate park.
Here we are at the skate park, RC drivers. I was right, the BMX track is toast, and it's not the greatest here either. We got a lot of snow, a lot of ice, a lot of wind, and it's just a tad over 20 degrees out. So I'm freezing, I got the gloves on. I'm gonna give you guys a first run. Man, it's cold. Okay, so I've only got a 4S pack in here because it's just way too slick and unpredictable with the ice and snow. A little safety, but we're still gonna get a good run out of this. I promise I'll hit it up again with a 6S pack at some point. But I wanna show you guys how much of a beast this truck is. Just on 4S. So much control. Plenty of punch out of that speed controller. Yeah, that was absolutely sick. That was killer. Sliding around. Not sure how I actually control that one. Look at this. That is just killer. Such an action-packed truck. Lots of steering. So quick. Just quick up and down. Go back the opposite way, a little tough. Oh boy, that was a hard landing. This angle's pretty cool. Gotta probably rip through this pretty quick now. So responsive. That servo way better than the old stuff, right? Time to hit up the dome, right? For my safety, I'm gonna stand up here, guys. It's so sketchy with that ice down there and that snow. All right, let's see if we do the loop. Yeah, the loop is absolutely awesome. If I just had a little more traction, I'd be so much more comfortable. Man, I just love how it goes through that. Well, I'm down here now, so lots of brake. That thing was coming at me. Stabbed the brake. Tons of brake. That's cool. Gotta stop hitting myself. I feel like I owe you guys at least one backflip with this thing. See if we can do it here. Nope. I had to pull out of that one. This direction. There we go. 4S backflip for you. Another one. So guys, I think that was a good first showing, right? Especially for a 4S pack in these conditions. I'm definitely gonna do a follow-up, run it on 6S to show you what this truck could really do. I think it's got a lot more in it. Take a look at this, RC drivers. I found some dirt to run the Kraton in. We gotta see this thing shred. This is some muddy stuff, muddy sand. Oh, we got some power. Oh, by the way, I've got the 6S pack in there now. Tons of rip. Look at that. Now it's a monster. Oh. Okay, we gotta attack this big hill here. Definitely unload some power to the front end. The way the diff's set up. We'll start off with something easy. Nice big air. Another big one. Oh, save that. This will backflip easily. Getting a lot of sand in those tires though. We're just stuck up in the rims. I'll go for the big hill. Oh man. Just serious Arrma goodness. Another one. Oh. I think the battery came unplugged mid-air somehow. Yep, just the battery connector. A lot of sand in those body mounts though. Hard to get the front off with the sand in it. One final send, guys. Here we go. Multiple backflips. Landed it. The EXB, guys. That's the way to go. I can't stop. Just can't stop. No problem. Backflips for days.
Well, that turned out to be one of the more wild bash sessions that I put an RC through. The short timeline, the frigid temperatures, just the conditions overall of the two locations. But the Arrma Kraton 6S is pretty impressive. Now, this is my first EXB. I didn't have the previous one, so I'm a little bit more excited about it, and maybe I've told you some things and been excited about some things that you've already seen before. However, I'm looking at this from new eyes, and I just thought this truck was really impressive. I love the feel of the V2 firmware speed controller, lots of punch. That servo held up really well, gave me the steering I needed. Over at the skate park, this truck was pretty impressive. Even though I ran it on 4S, I was still impressed with the stunts I was able to pull off. It was just running through the loop is so cool over there. And I actually put 2 battery packs through it, and it turns out I broke the truck there. Didn't quite notice. I noticed something was a little off. And I actually blew out one of the gears in the differential, the sun gear. So there was a little bit of slip in the rear. Didn't really notice it until I was in the parking lot running around and noticed that it was pulling in one direction. So that's kind of a bummer, but I mean, skate parks are really harsh on an RC truck. And these manufacturers, they're starting to show that cars can be run in skate parks. It's kind of becoming the norm, but you do have to be aware that it is harsh on an RC. An RC is not going to be invincible there. You really have to watch when you're coming down landings, not to be on the throttle hard. That's probably where I blew out that gear. But in terms of like overall durability, I mean, we got a lot of composite components on there. The frigid temperatures, this truck put up with a lot. I was really impressed with that. So actually on the way home is when I noticed that dirt lot, got permission from the owner to run there, ran right back home, put the diff from my Kraton V6 into the rear, ran to that lot, was able to get you guys some big air action where this truck pretty much ran flawlessly. I mean, the air time, the backflips, I could have been there all day. The throttle control of this, way better. I think Arrma did a really nice job on this truck. I know a lot of it's the same as the previous version, so let's get into that. This has some of the V6 changes on it. So it's got that rear skid, it's got the new hubs in the front, the new body mounting system, which adds a bit of protection and gets rid of the body clips. I like how the roof brace kind of locks into that center diff mount. So it's got a really good setup to it. And again, it's got that V2 speed controller. And the things that they removed from it from the previous version is they got rid of the DX3 radio and the AVC. And from what I saw, the price has actually gone up. So I think the previous version was like $700. This is $750. So do you need to go and replace your previous version EXB? No, I don't think so. You just need to go and get the parts, maybe swap it out if it really means a lot to you. But if you've been holding off for the EXB or you're unsure if you should just get the standard V6 or the EXB, it's a tough call because it is a $150 difference. You gotta remember, you gotta buy batteries and a charger, so that's $150 towards that if you're looking to budget your cash. You also gotta be true of where you're gonna drive this thing. If you're just gonna float this truck over BMX jumps, land on the backsides, the standard V6 is an awesome truck. I put that thing through a lot, but if you're gonna go send this thing, like close your eyes when you pull the throttle and hope it lands, that type of driving, that's when you're gonna wanna go with the EXB. This has got a lot of 70-75 aluminum parts on it that are gonna hold up really well. I mean, just consider the diff cases. Those are $100 a piece, so that's $200 right there. You wouldn't have to buy it later if you think you're gonna need it. I mean, and that's not including the cost of all the other aluminum goodies on there. So it's a real price savings if you think you're gonna go wild to get this truck with all the good aluminum on it. I didn't get the speed tester for you guys. This thing weighs twice as much as it did before with all the sand packed into it from that lot, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna hit that same speed that my standard V6 did. Awesome truck from Arrma, really built for bashers. If you're into it, I'll have a link for it in the video description below.